what we know so far and the facts. Therefore, it will allow us to get to the next step, as in what happens next. Well, I'd like to pick up on one of those and go back to a timestamp of right around 5:36 of Tint's video in his interview, in which he responded to a Kijiji ad from Cindy Murray over a horse trailer, and the conversation took a different path. Wade Paris is the partner, boyfriend, or live-in partner with Malaya Brooks Murray's mother. And as soon as the conversation got going, really, within minutes with Tint, he said, "I still think it's the boy," referring to Daniel as the boy. And he says that, in other words, he's on a particular substance. He makes a particular substance. He sells a particular substance, he said, and he doesn't like Jack and Lily. These are all things that I believe Wade Paris is depicting an accurate window or a depiction into the lives of Jack and Lily Sullivan and the circumstances leading up to how they went missing and when they went missing and why they went missing and whom's responsible. So already early on that we have this statement that was shared to that channel, Hidden in the Fog, about the fight at the end of the driveway being kicked off over, one, Daniel's sketchy behavior that particular day of the search, and the fact that they have a detailed story and account that conflicts with the narrative that Daniel wants to present and Malaya. So she had her go and retract the statement of this particular said substance. So on top of that all, Daniel, most recently on Daniel Turkey's show, admitted to being the first one to admit that he's done these particular substances in the past. And not to mention, it falls in line, what's more important here in this video is that it falls right in line with what Malaya stated into this particular moment the day before she went in to be induced with Meadow 2 years ago, as a key point in finding out that Daniel was not just using these substances recreationally off and on, and it's not a problem, but he was indeed an addict.
I never really heard nothing.
Never heard anything?
They don't say too much.
Oh.
It's only that boy that did it. I still say the boy.
The Daniel Martell, the
He's
stepfather.
on meth.
He's on meth.
He sells meth.
Uh-huh.
And he makes it. And he don't like the kid.
These are things that are worth talking about in great detail. Why is it so important? Because it offers us a perspective that's contrary and conflicts currently with Daniel's statements, even though that he himself admits to using it. But he doesn't want to attribute it to being a factor into the circumstances that got Jack and Lily gone. Impossible. Impossible. The substances had everything to do with what made Daniel so impossible and impossible for Malaya to continue a relationship with. The same that happens in virtually every scenario just like that, where there's addiction involved. Now, Wade continues to mention after this, he says that Daniel physically batters Malaya in real time. Something that Daniel has admitted to, Malaya has admitted to, and then downplayed. But it's important, Wade's perspective and hearing his voice in these particular words are so very important because, of course, it's been talked about in the paperwork from the initial reports as to the conversations, which was a continuous thing. Think about being in contact with your own mother 4 times a day, every single day. For the people out there, that would indicate to me that somebody out there has some sort of concern for Malaya on the inside, even being involved in this relationship. This is worth conversing and talking in great detail about, something that Daniel himself wants to avoid at all costs. These are the key contributing factors as to what happened to Jack and Lily Sullivan. 100% relevant.
Now, but in the thing is, it's December 2024, just before Christmas, when they're sitting on the sofa.
How
You wouldn't take no kid.
How about the police? The police update any news about the two deaths?
You never really heard nothing.
Never heard anything?
They don't say too much. It's only that boy that did it. I still say the boy.
The Daniel Martell, the
He's
stepfather.
on meth.
He's on meth.
He sells meth,
Uh-huh.
and he makes it. And he don't like the kids. He beats the kids. He beats their daughter.
That's what I'm
But her
saying.
daughter might know more than she's saying. I said, your daughter's lying. You must know what happened. There's only 3 people in the thing.
Exactly. There's only 3 people there, Wade. Wade also is indicating here that there's conversations between himself and Cindy over whether or not Malaya knows what happened. She has to, and she's avoiding it. Why? It was brought up over on Justin's last night, Justin from Clutch Them Pearls, the idea of giving her qualified immunity in this particular case, or immunity, and that would probably be on the table, and I don't disagree. However, I can't really push that without knowing what real situation the Crown and the RCMP are really in. Wade continues on to discuss how he and Cindy and some others had to do polygraph examinations, and it's a great time to remind everybody out there exactly what they're doing and how they're using it as an investigative tool. When in a circumstance like this, part of the process is to rule out certain possibilities. So these polygraph examinations would help, as opposed to being one-way thinking and closed-minded and being distracted and going after only one angle. Right? They want to have their own bases covered as to why it can be only one thing. They've already ruled that out by this method and this method. But Wade continues on to mention, guess what again?
Over there.
So you and Cindy and
Her mother, because her mother was in the house before, and some of her cousins, they had to do polygraph.
Is the mother living here right now or not?
No, she was, and she lives in. We took the mother because we found out that he's on drugs.
He's on meth, yeah.
And meth, and they beat her, so we took her over there. He was here, and then the CPS. The CPS went to their house in December, and they should have took the kids out of there. Like, look at the look of the house.
Yeah.
We had the locks on the door, and the boy beat her, this and that. But why'd she stay there? That's what I told her.
I saw the house of Daniel Martell, and I saw this house, and I understand why she come here. She moved out the next day.
No, she could have went to her grandmother's in Bob Hill. You know how many times we tried to... She was at the grandmother's before they went there, Dan and her. He got 2 from a previous marriage, and those 2 that are missing are hers. Then they got the little girl together. And he didn't like her kids at all. But she said they beat them.
Just crazy, man.
Wade is talking about Daniel not liking Jack and Lily several times, and that Malaya was saying that he beat them. They beat them, implying him and Malaya. Of course, liars deny in real time, especially when they're being accused of the crimes that they've committed. Right? So it's not, Daniel's denial in the paperwork over them not disciplining the kids would be contradictory to the fact that they're yelling at them, number one. You can't expect Daniel to tell you the truth in this situation, especially in light of having witness accounts. This is a powerful account from Wade Paris. And I don't feel that I'm overstating or overemphasizing the importance of this at this point in time for people out there trying to seek the truth over what happened in the circumstances leading up to Jack and Lily going missing and the reality. And this is a very important window into that reality. Whether or not it's 100% true is different. But the point is it's not Daniel, and it's an important third party that isn't in a position and doesn't have skin in the game, i.e. something to hide. It's Wade giving you an account of his experience and his overall opinion based off of what he's experienced for the previous 2 years of this relationship. It's been an ongoing problem. Physicality, domestic abuse, substance abuse, neglect of the children, dislike and hatred towards the children. How is it that we as a community can't recognize this scenario for what it is and the potential and the possibility and the high probability that it escalated to a point because of the continuing financial hardship that they were experiencing? And it was only that they were together that they were experiencing it, and Daniel wasn't holding up his side. Because Malaya would have been in a better spot if she wasn't with Daniel in this particular living arrangement. She would be better off on her own, especially her mental health. And Daniel was physically withholding her from doing this and messing with their mind, manipulating her, and very likely keeping her hooked on a particular substance. The conversation continues, just some loose opinions, but it gets into around 9:25. Wade is talking about CPS being at the house and how they should have taken them out back in December when they were there. 3 months before May, or thereabouts, they were there with a U-Haul. And the day before that they were going to move out, she said, "No, I'm going to stay." And it makes him question about, what makes Wade, her uncle, question about why, in fact, she would even stay with somebody who's physically abusing her and her children. So this is a scenario, a situation which Malaya's family are all well aware of. It's upsetting to me a little bit. Like, it makes me think of other things. You can only do so much, but in the moment, what it's doing is reinforcing their belief in knowledge into what was really going on at that house and the chaos in which they lived in. That's primary in this. Let's listen.
What I'm saying? Look at the dirty fucking house. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I may stay one night and I say,
I know, brother.
we can't live here. And 3 months ago, we told her, before that happened, I'll say 3 months before May, we had the U-Haul truck to move her back to her grandmother's house. We had a big house by Redcliffe and Bible Hill. The day before, no, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
Why do you want to stay here? There's little rats in the walls.
Exactly. I've been to that place many times, man. I know that place is not suitable for humans.
You know.
I don't understand. Maybe he was.
Now she's trying to sue the CPS. The CPS should have took the kids out. This was in December. And plus, why would she stay there? If someone's beating my kids, I'm breaking their fucking arms.
Exactly. I would do the same, bro.
She should have told us anyway. She had told us he's on drugs or he's beating the kids. They would have been here. You get what I'm saying? We would have took the kids ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's highlighting, or Wade's highlighting the conflict, because if you admitted to that happening, maybe something that was fueling her silence was the risk of losing Meadow in this circumstance, because even more would come out. So it was easier for Malaya to stay silent, especially with CPS, and continue in this abusive relationship and try to find her own way out in time. But clear indicators, and he's talking directly to the physicality involved over at the house. I believe that this was actually occurring, in spite of Daniel's loose denials and generalities. These are things that need to be talked about extensively online at this point in time. There's no greater or no better window into... this is ironic, because Wade has offered the public into more things that the RCMP know that would shape their opinions. But they're not letting their opinions direct. They put all of the pieces of the puzzle together where you can sit back after time and say the only reasonable explanation is this. And therefore, it gives them reason to do things a certain way far after the point. And it's not as direct, not as much as we'd like out here in TV land type of thing.
And the last time we seen them, they're over here Easter Monday.
Easter Monday.
That's the last time we saw them.
Daniel Martell.
Even then, yep, the one. You're gonna come here now.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we're in the woods looking for stuff. Me, him, Jack, and his other stuff. Then he stayed in the woods for a whole hour by himself. So what the fuck is this guy doing? You crazy? So he probably doing drugs in the woods.
Yeah.
It's Wade talking about Daniel and his substance abuse. And his abuse of it around the children specifically. He was over there on Easter Monday, spent an hour out in the woods. Wade is bringing it up as a reason to justify the question as what are you doing out in the woods doing these rugs? It's an open secret around the house. It's an open secret in that sense. Between Cindy, well, listen, they've got an ongoing conversation, it said in the paperwork. Let's go have a look. Look at the first line. Malaya reported her children, Lily and Jack, may have left the residence and were missing. This is the dispatch. She said they were both possibly autistic and were known to wander. Right there contradicts the things that she further talks about later on in this particular paperwork, but within the questioning. When it comes up in real time, oh no, it's not like them to wander at all. But why would you state that in your report initially to the RCMP if you didn't want it to look specifically as though two autistic children wandered off into the woods? Because that's what they were modeling their deception towards the RCMP over, how they were going to get away with this. This is first, it's just another lie for them to sort out after the fact. But in the moment, it works. And the RCMP, one, haven't redacted it. They've shared it. It's there for everybody to see. You're their mother, Malaya, and you're the only one walking around claiming that they're autistic, and then you're not. You don't even know. Why even bring it up in the first place? Nobody talks like that. And they were known to wander. As in, this is something that happens frequently. And then you completely contradict that initial claim to dispatch. That would be an indicator of deception. Later on in the documents, it says Malaya called her mother who came to the house. When her mother arrived, Malaya talked to her and said, "I told you that they had autism." So even more contradictions to the initial dispatch. Janie said Jack would not even go for a walk on his own. Needed to be carried. And there's a 1-hour discrepancy as to when on Thursday she put the kids to bed. One time she says 9 p.m. and she later changes it to 10 p.m. Another indicator, another lie that she told detectives, Lily and Jack did not have a relationship with their biological father. He had not seen them since October 2021, when Malaya left him because, redacted, he did not pay child support. And then it goes on to redact all that much more information about their particular relationship. And this was responded to by Belinda Gray, Cody's mother, saying he did indeed pay child support. And again, the fact that Malaya said she had not spoken with Daniel since May 3rd, 2025, said she blocked him and had not opened his Snapchat messages, just another indicator of how she's dealing with an abusive relationship after the fact in this circumstance. So her actions speak a lot louder than her denials in this sense, her loose denials for CPS and for the authorities in real time, because she was too scared to get anybody in trouble in the moment. That's common, isn't it? So here's that part. Remember in the dispatch when she told them that they were known to wander? When you scroll down into the update, one of the later times they talked to Malaya, Malaya said Lily and Jack did not normally wander on their own. They would if redacted were there, but not by themselves. So there's a bit of confusion right here. Whoop. Malaya had a video call from her mother, Cindy, at 3:37 p.m. on Thursday to see the kids. Cindy would have seen the kids on the phone. This is a communication from Malaya, a presumption, but we know that she's not been straightforward. Okay, she's not given us a straight statement. Malaya went through and showed Constable McIntyre her banking transactions on Thursday to see if they could narrow down the timeline. But she said Daniel used his card for their purchases that day. What about Patty's card? What was Patty's card being used for? Groceries? Have they checked Patty's card? I would think that they would, but do you know what that 7-minute window could be between the time that they go into Dollarama? You know, Malaya gets dropped, or Malaya goes in first, and 7 minutes later, Daniel comes with, say, the kids or by himself. Happened in Walmart and at the Dollarama. Well, he could be meeting somebody up to sell them some substances, or there could be a deal going down that would take that amount of time. Like he's there meeting them in the parking lot. That would be a common thing. Malaya goes on ahead in the store with Meadow, and kids are just waiting around while Daddy Daniel does his deals. Both one in the Dollarama parking lot and one in the Walmart. So Wednesday Malaya says that Wednesday they stopped by Patty's to drop off her bank card. This was at 9:19 p.m. This was after they went to Walmart, 7:54, 8:14-ish p.m. Out very late on a school night, aren't you? Malaya provided more background on their living situation. Take a look at the level of redaction there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, 6 paragraphs, 7 paragraphs redacted. Oh, well, isn't it interesting that that's just the type of information that we need to know out here. But through Wade's statements, we can get a better understanding of what would be redacted in those particular paragraphs. And you redact them, of course, for many reasons, but it's not to give away the farm and make a person look more suspicious in the public eye and affect a case down the line where the defense can use that to their benefit. You need to withhold private and certain information back in a particular case. But I'm speaking of in a circumstance where you want people to believe, Daniel, that you're so innocent and everything, you should be an open book. There should be no point to really us as the public having to question the circumstances between you and Malaya and the ill environment that you created, especially when it comes to Jack and Lily. But you can understand liars lie. And liars are going to deny, especially to social services in that sense. So what does Daniel say right away? Daniel said Malaya took the baby, Meadow, and left with her family. She blocked him on social media and he couldn't get in contact with her. So that's why he's got Logan doing the old star 6-7 and trolling her from a phone, calling and hanging up on Cindy. These are threats, essentially, from Daniel towards Malaya, in my opinion, and her family. You know what stands out to me here is the deception, I feel, by way of Daniel in mixing experiential memory into and tie it into what he did on Thursday when it actually occurred the day previous to that. And he then goes and mixes in this trip to Truro, or this trip to New Glasgow for her blood work, in with her trip to do laundry, as opposed to just simply drop off a bank card and stop at Walmart on Thursday. So Daniel's talking here. Regarding Thursday, Daniel said the kids did not go to school because Malaya thought Lily was sick, blah, blah, blah. They all left home around lunchtime and got gas at the Circle K in Alma. I heard that there wasn't even a Circle K in Alma, then went through the Tim Hortons drive-thru for food. Daniel said he thought the kids were sleeping. They drove to Truro and then went to Malaya's grandmother's house to do laundry and spent most of the day there. Really? They went shopping at Walmart and got food. That's not what Patty says. They left her grandmother's around 9:30 p.m. and got home around 10:30 p.m. That's another hour and a half off, a discrepancy between their claims. Then put the kids to bed. So he singles out putting the kids to bed. Daniel said he thought Malaya put them to bed. Well, you know, you think you're the one who brought putting the kids to bed up, but you don't know who put them to bed? And got home around 10:30 p.m., then put the kids to bed. Daniel said he thought Malaya put them to bed. He didn't know what they were wearing because they were underneath the covers when he checked on them. Daniel said he thought he went to bed fairly early that night and didn't wake up until it was light the next morning. He remembered getting an email that Malaya had marked the kids absent from school on his phone at around 6:18 on Friday. Daniel later said Malaya had to get redacted on Thursday between 12:40 and 1:40, so he thought they must have done that before they went to Truro. You think? It was only the day before. You're purposefully obfuscating. Daniel could not remember if they went to town on Wednesday or not. He said that they had a conversation with someone who was helping his with the redacted, but he thought that was on Tuesday. Regarding their family situation, Daniel said they used to live with Malaya's grandmother, but they moved. Redacted. They moved to Daniel's mother's house, and Daniel's mother moved into the camping trailer on the same property. Daniel said Lily and Jack were sheltered. What does that mean? But they always watched them outside, except this time, including his mother. His mother would always tell them if they didn't have coats or boots on. What? Now, nothing says control freak like something like this. He said discipline in the house was just talking to the kids and telling them why they couldn't do things. So you're acknowledging that there was discipline. Well, discipline would imply a little bit more than expressing or talking. Those are two different things. Daniel said if it was just talking to somebody, you wouldn't need or have the necessity to discipline them. Daniel said the kids did not listen to Malaya. That's from his opinion, his perspective. They only listened to him. He said they did not physically discipline the kids. Oh, again, are you sure about that? He just beat them. Discipline would imply that there was some lesson or learning involved. But there's none of that, just disregard and disdain. So why is Wade's statement so important? Because right here, even Daniel said Malaya would have talked to her mother later in the day on that Thursday because her mother called 2 or 3 times every day. Her grandmother also probably called. That's Patty.
Yeah. Why do you want to stay here? There's rats in the walls.
Exactly. I've been to that place many times, man. I know that place is not suitable for humans.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Maybe he was.
Now, you trying to sue the CPS? The CPS should have took the kids out. This was in December. And plus, why would you stay there? If someone's beating my kids, I'm breaking their fucking hands.
Exactly. I would do the same.
You should have told us anyway. She had told us he's on drugs or he's beating the kids. They would have been here. You get what I'm saying? We would have took the kids ourselves.
Yeah.
And the last time we seen them, they're over here Easter Monday.
Easter Monday.
That's the last time we saw them.
Daniel Martell.
Even then, yep, the one. You better not come here now.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we're in the woods looking for stuff. Me, him, Jack, and his other stuff. Then he stayed in the woods for a whole hour by himself. So what the fuck are you guys doing? You crazy? So he probably doing drugs in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes he used to come to our house and buy hell.
Yeah, it's funny.
And he stayed outside all the time. His face was. Somebody see the skin is like yellowish, green, like he's dying. I said he gotta be on drugs or something.
Yeah.
And he's not, every time he dropped the kids off, he was never there. And he probably wasn't even working. He wasn't working no once a week.
Yeah, he just dropped a bombshell like 2 days ago. He said there's black eyes on the tree 2 days before.
I showed the detectives some of the pictures because the boy looked like he's hard to get along. Her grandson, like you tell him to do something, he won't listen. So he might have got mad and grabbed him by the neck and broke his neck. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? He might have. I don't know.
Maybe. But you can't, right? I mean, the kids shoot kids at the same time.
Maybe the little girl witnessed it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
But her psychic says.
That's for sure.
Now, if we had the kids, we'd be $150,000 rich.
Exactly.
Plus, who's going to take grandkids?
Yeah, but you know what people say.
So what Wade was just saying about this, incident or this time that Daniel stopped by with the kids and they went out in the bush and he stayed out there for an hour, probably doing rugs in that sense, talking about how Daniel's skin was all different kinds of colors, wasn't looking the healthiest, just like how an individual looks when they're abusing a particular substance, which everybody keeps talking about here. That isn't friendly for advertisers on YouTube. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below about these particular points in the video, and we'll take it from there, friends. Peace.